All right. I guess it's time for vlog number 3. So, what's called? You said that we could kind of talk about the documentary and kind of the process of that, as well as the process of the TED Talk, since the stuff wasn't available online at the time. So I'll go ahead and do that. And honestly, just kind of a general overview of it. I really liked the TED Talk. I thought the TED Talk was pretty fun. Of course, just like everyone else, it was stressful. Um, just because it's not something we've done before. Yeah, I've done presentations, but a TED Talk's it's a bit different. You don't really have your slides, and it's not like a scientific or like academic presentation, which is kind of what I'm used to. And it's a bit different than the classroom. But I tried to kind of incorporate my expertise and skills in those areas, and it worked out pretty well, I think. And then this is about the TED Talk. Um, in terms of the what's it called, the process of it, of acquiring the information was really interesting, and I enjoyed it, interviewing people, doing a bit of research online, just seeing what current evidence has to say about it, and like in the academic realm. But not really a fan of the documentary part of it. Like, I don't like the filmmaking part. I just didn't know anything about it. So it's just so out of my realm. That's the thing is, and it was out of the realm of the group. It's interesting because typically you would pull in, like, if you were in the practical sector, experts who would be able to do this, maybe even contract it out, but it's not like something we can do. Like, the best we can do is consult our friends, and that's what we did. I think Sean, he said he had a friend who kind of knew how to do it, so that's why we were able to piece something together, because we were pretty lost. But yeah, I didn't really like the filmmaking as much. Just I don't know. I feel like there's a better way to present the information, unless that is your thing. And I feel like not a lot of people have an expertise in both filmmaking and making it entertaining like that, as well as just the scientific background. And I think pairing those are a real interesting skill set. And I think people who have that have a very kind of useful set of expertise, and maybe something I'll look through in the future. Um, but that's kind of an overview to kind of get in specifics about the TED Talk. So when I really, as I said, I enjoyed, and I really wanted to incorporate different parts. I looked at kind of different TED Talks online. Your TED Talk, Dr. Hayes, and also Haynes, rather. I can't talk again. That's commonality, but I saw a talk online from Dr. Bio Curry Winchell, and she gave an amazing talk, and I really enjoyed it. It was only like 13-ish minutes, so it was shorter than the other ones, and I think yours was also a bit shorter. And I found that these shorter ones really held my attention, because when people started to talk and rant with slides, I got bored, and that was really my objective. I was hoping it would be boring, because when it's boring, people don't listen. And then kind of my approach was, I wanted to start off with like a personal story and an engaging story, like from my EMS experience, and then my own family, just to kind of show that I have a personal connection to it, kind of. And then slowly kind of shove in little facts and stuff that are surprising. The people were like, oh, okay. Um, like the one I always talk about variances in pain medication care, and assessment, as well as the information about the pulse oximeter, because these are things that people don't know. Even people in healthcare may not know about it, but it's something that I kind of wanted to share. But really, what I really liked about the the what's called the presentation from Dr. Curry Winchell, is that she used a, what's it called, an acronym, and I thought that was really cool. Her acronym was a bit different, and honestly it was a bit convoluted, because every letter in her acronym had multiple like meanings and like multiple terms that went with it. I'm like, that's a lot. So I really wanted to come up with an acronym. I came up with a bunch of different stuff. I probably have the paper around here somewhere. But I tried a bunch of different acronyms, and I settled on REAL because I thought it felt I originally started with what I wanted to say, and then I made the acronym fit to it. So I went with real, recognize, engage, advocate, and listen. And I thought that that was really good. And I thought it was something that was memorable, and it was something that I think people could really use in their kind of life going forward. But whether you're looking at a systemic level, enterprise systemic level, as well as personal level, and I think I was able to accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. Um, I'm glad I wasn't too wordy. As you can tell by these, if I don't practice a whole lot, I begin to rant, and then rants are not great either, because they cause people to lose attention. But I think that it kind of answers the first thing of what I found interesting about that. And then what I found interesting about the documentary was really the interviews. Um, what's it called? My father, Dr. Denton, he probably could figure that one out. His was a bit. I had to kind of coerce him to it because I didn't feel like it. So his was shorter, and there wasn't a whole lot um, of kind of detail in that. Even though it is a valid kind of experience, and he does have a lot of expertise in it. But honestly, interviewing my friend, what's it called, Christian Ventura, and hearing his stories, especially about the vaccines in Vermont, I found that astounding. And I'm like, that's how we do it. We got to engage the communities. We got to get them that level of trust. And I'm like, that's how you do it. And I'm like, of course, that's why they're going to have those higher rates of what's it called, vaccination in minority populations. They figured it out at least a little bit, and we need to, especially kind of in Arkansas and other states like that, we need to adopt that kind of approach to things. And that was something that I really gained from that interview. And then hearing the experiences of Zelma Bar. She's 94. And honestly, what it was really shocking, because you think about segregation and these things as ages ago, but people are still alive who have experienced it, and her telling me stories, they're so heartfelt. And we really only got a small portion of that in the documentary, but we talked for hours and hours, and it was just her telling me her stories, just not even just within healthcare, but just in life. It was so engaging, and honestly, that I feel like that if it were edited properly, again, someone who has those visual audio skills and those editing skills could probably make it really interesting. And probably if my video quality was better than a MacBook 13, MacBook Air 2013, yeah, it would probably be really interesting and really good. And I think people would be interested in seeing it. And it honestly makes me want to talk to old people more. I feel like old people have such a wealth of knowledge that we often overlook, right? And I think they're starting to get older. They're starting to have health problems. So now is the time to do it. If not, you're going to lose a lot of critical information. And that's what I kind of really gained from that. But it was an overall enjoyable experience, and it was good. I really enjoyed the class too. But kind of what I want to use from that today is really from the TED Talk is being able to convert that scientific information and making it personable and making it engaging and having it kind of in a simplistic manner, right? Instead of this convoluted medical terminology that, yes, I understand. A lot of people in academia can understand nowadays. But like what if I teach an EMT course, right? People who start an EMT course, they sometimes have no previous kind of knowledge of the medical field. They don't understand the basic terminology. And I think I've gotten better at it, but I can notice that sometimes I do talk in a convoluted manner. And I think using those skills that I was able to use there and then use that in the field of education, taking that information from a textbook, from a research article, and then putting it in a way that is accessible to um, just the general population. I think that's a vital kind of skill to have. It's kind of similar with the documentary, but the documentary I think would be more useful in the future. And then that kind of gets into my the this not my question, but the second question of what will I do within 5 years? And I think, again, assuming I'm going to be doing research in 5 years, um, I think, and hopefully still practicing, I think it really will help in that realm in terms of practice. You can transmit this information of kind of health behavior and how a person can improve their health and kind of those root causes and inform the patients themselves and kind of just talk to them, create that personable connection, which is vital, especially in healthcare when it's all some of your most vulnerable times, right? And then also what's it called the interview skills. I think those are pretty good. I've done some interviews in the past, like scientific based interviews for research projects. um but I've never really actually, this was with EMS professionals, and this was a couple years back. But just learning those softer interview skills, and in terms of like not in the academic realm, like the interview I had with Zelma Bar, it was just kind of just a conversation, and it led where it led. And I think those abilities to analyze, like in your mind, what someone said, and then ask follow-up questions to that to form kind of a fluid conversation, is super useful, not just in finding out things for research and finding out possibilities of future areas of research and where that research needs to be done, but of course in just talking with patients and finding out information. I may have talked about this in the last vlog, but I'm not sure. But being nosy sometimes can help, especially in emergency medicine, right? You got to find out things, and you got to get people to say things, because the more information you have, typically you can better piece together a differential diagnosis and kind of what's wrong with them, and you can better help them. And I think those skills are something that I've really been able to strengthen during the TED Talk, as well as the documentary process. And I look forward to implementing them, as well as the kind of the information that we've gained. The information is extremely useful, but it's kind of stuff we learned previously, except for a few little kind of personal things that I'll talk about during the interviews. Um, and also just in general, a greater appreciation for people outside of medicine who do these things, like make videos and can edit videos and film, not like a 5-year-old home video that should be on America's Funniest Videos, but rather make something that people will enjoy and people will watch, and looking for external help when necessary, because I know there a lot of times things are beyond my own expertise, and I think that's important to be able to recognize that. But that's just kind of what I'm going to conclude with vlog number 3. Class was pretty fun. Yeah. So have a great day.